Hello, and welcome to Trading Made Easy right here on YouTube. I am glad that you found yourself here. Today, I'm going to give a quick tutorial on the MACD and how to use that in conjunction with the triple arrow system. You may also see this video on Facebook at my private Facebook group, Trading Made Easy, because I will likely upload it there, right? um, Time management is key. So we're going to knock two birds out with one stone. Now, for those of you that do not know, you just happen to stumble across my channel, glad you're here. But let me just give you really brief what this channel is about. I am a Forex trader, currency trader. I trade in a foreign exchange market. I use, in my opinion, the #1 trading system in the industry, and that is the triple arrow system. There are several reasons why I consider it to be the #1 system. I have previous videos on my channel. Feel free to look at those videos. You'll learn a lot about this triple arrow system and the accuracy and just the power of it and how it all works. I'm not going to do all of that on this particular video, but subscribe to the channel. You may be someone who have been trying to just lock this skill down and you're just not profiting, consistently. You're not alone. You're not alone. Actually, that's a large population of the trading community. And there are two specific reasons as it relates to the skill set that causes that. One is most traders don't know how to identify the trend. They don't know how to do that effectively. And of course, not knowing that will put you at a disadvantage because it's like driving on the opposite side of the street. If you drive on the opposite side of the street, naturally you have a much higher chance of having an accident, right? But if you drive on the right side of the street, then of course you minimize having an accident. It's the same thing with trading with the trend and being able to identify that, because you're going with price, you're not going against price, and understanding that will certainly be more of a benefit to you as it relates to profiting in the market. This system provides that for you. Also, another reason, and this is a pivotal one too, is the entry. Most traders don't know when to enter into the trade. That's primarily due to just the lack of understanding of market structure and just understanding price action and how price move and that kind of thing. And not having a good understanding of that will confuse you as to when to get in. That's one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't know how to execute the proper entry. You can get into a trade too early or too late and have a very, very bad experience. And so this system provides you with, I don't say perfect entry, because I don't believe that there is a perfect entry, because the market is going to do what the market is going to do, right? What we do is we monitor price, and we respond to what the market is telling us, right? And so with that, I don't believe that there is a perfect entry, but this system definitely allows you to get in the market at the best opportune time, which is great, which is really, really great. So that's just a little bit as to why I believe that this is totally the #1 trading system that you should have. So if you're a beginner, you really need to have this. If you are an experienced trader, this is an absolute powerhouse confirmation tool that you can use with what you're currently doing. So you're trading successfully. You're pretty confident with your trading style. Having this system is an all-inclusive confirmation to what you're currently doing. And so I just think that it's a benefit for everyone in the trading community. All right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about the MACD. The MACD is the only indicator that's added with this system. And it's a very, very powerful indicator that coincides with the triple arrow system. Now, the triple arrow system in and of itself is an all-inclusive system that's comprised of a couple of things. One, your trend lines is already built in. Already built in. Remember, we talked about identifying the trend and things like that. The trend lines are already built in. Also, your support and your resistance. Powerful, guys. Powerful that your support and resistance is already built in. These are things that a trader must understand how to identify and draw up manually. Well, the system does it for you. So all you're really doing is looking, right? Looking, identifying with your eyes. And then, of course, we have the triple arrow. The triple arrow, it is responding to price. It's responding to price. So it's almost like having a magnifying glass where you can see beyond the charts, right? You can see beyond the price or the inside of the price. It's almost like that because the arrows are responding to price. And when you have your arrows populate, it gives you a story. It tells you a story of what price is doing. That's very difficult for most traders to be able to identify with the naked eye, right? All of this is included, and some other neat things as well. So again, this video is about the MACD, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but I absolutely love the system. I think it's a benefit to anyone that's in the trading community. If you want to profit consistently, yeah, you need to have it. Now, before I go any further, subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned, there are previous videos. I am building this channel up, and so there are going to be more tutorials, more how-tos as it relates to the triple arrow system and how you can maximize it for consistent profit. So you definitely want to subscribe to Trading Made Easy. Subscribe to the channel so that you can stay abreast. Also, I'm going to put my invite link for the trading group. There, I also provide more tutorials there as well. We can interact there also, and you can actually get your hands on this system. So I'm going to invite you to the group and just access that link, and I'll let you in. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get started. Alrighty, so what you have here, let me just make it a little larger for you, right? What you have here is the MACD. So I'm going to just go over the components of the MACD and what it means, how it works, and all that good stuff first, right? And then we'll use it in conjunction with the triple arrow system. Okay, so the MACD is comprised of a couple of components. One, you have your moving averages, this red and blue line, your moving averages. The default settings are set as is, so there's nothing to change or manipulate or anything. When you add it with the system, it is already set to where it should be. So no work there, right? So you have your moving averages and you have your volume indicators. These are volume indicators. I like to call them little mountains, right? And but they're volume indicators. And what the volume indicator does is it reads the volume of each candle, meaning it reads the strength of each candle. Very, very powerful. It gives you a lot of detail as to what price is doing. And so you have that. Now your moving averages, the blue line is your MACD line, and the red line is your signal line. Now, the MACD, or I should say, the moving averages, when you have, okay, and I also have this white line in the middle that separates the bulls from the bears. Now, this is a manual line. You can just drop a horizontal line right on the middle, and it's like the 50% mark, right? I like that because it just allows me to see what I need to see. It's clear. Okay, so now when the when the MACD is on top of this 0 line, you're in bullish territory. You're in bullish territory, meaning the buyers are more dominant or stronger at that time in the market, right? And then when the moving averages are below the 0 0 line, the bears or the sellers are more dominant. They have more strength in the market. Now, what I want you to understand with the MACD is that even if the moving averages is, say, below the 0 0 line, you're still going to have the interaction of price with the bears and the bulls. So it's not going to be straight selling. It's not going to be straight buying. Only thing it means is that overall, the bears or the sellers are stronger in the market, meaning you're in a seller's territory or you're in a buyer's territory if it's above. Okay. Now, I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It's just something to be, clear about, understand. Now, when the moving averages cross, very, very important. When the moving averages cross, it tells another story. And basically, when the moving average cross, it the opposite position is more dominant. So, as an example, let's say right here. Okay, we have our and let me back up. Let me back up. With the moving averages, when the blue, the MACD, and that represents the buyers, and the red represents the sellers. When the MACD, the blue line, crosses below your red line, then what that says is the buyers are losing strength. The sellers have gained strength. The buyers, when it crosses below the red line, when the blue line crosses below the red line, the buyers are losing strength. The sellers are gaining strength. So you're going into more of a selling movement. Okay. Same thing applies, opposite applies when the blue line crosses above your red line, meaning your MACD crosses above your signal or your buys cross above, because when it crosses above, it signifies a buy. When it crosses below, it signifies a sell, right? So when the blue line crosses above the red line, that signifies a buyer's move, right? So in other words, the bulls or buyer's market is gaining strength, is more dominant at that particular time in price, okay? And as long as the blue is above the red, you're in a buyer's move, more or less. Even though the moving average is below the 0 0 line. Remember when I said when it's below, you're in seller's territory. When it's above, you're in buyer's territory. But despite that, within the seller's territory, you can have bullish momentum going on, which is what you see right here. Now, the strength of the move or the strength of the momentum, you can determine that based on the space, the space between the two lines. The closer the moving averages are together, the more is consistent with consolidation. The closer it is. We like wide spaces, big, strong moves. That indicates stronger momentum. Also, you can look at your volume indicator as well to determine the volume or the strength in the candles. Okay, so hopefully that has explained to you how that works. Now, let's go a little further. When the moving average approaches the 0 0 line, right? If you choose not to have a line there, that's fine. When the moving average actually crosses over into buyer's territory or seller's territory, then you have what we call a change in trend, a change in the trend. It's shifting from one trend over the other. And I'm going to show you how all of this works in alignment with your triple arrow system. Now, one thing to also be aware of is that when the moving average actually crosses over your 0 0 line, crosses over into up, because this cross above the red line is traveling up. When it's above the red, we're in a buyer's moment right now, right? We're buyer's momentum. And as long as it stays above the red, we are in a stronger buyer's momentum. And what you will find is that your moving average um, will continue to go up, up, close, close to cross over the 0 0 line or cross over into the bullish territory. And as you can see, that's what happened here. Now, when it does that, it signifies a change in the trend. Same thing applies if it was going in reverse down into seller's territory. Now, one thing that you want to be aware of is that even when it crosses over into the buyer's territory or the seller's territory, it's not guaranteed that it's going to stay there. We don't know how long it's going to be in that territory. It can very well go through that territory and right back down into sellers, or right back up into buyer's territory. So be mindful of that as well. We don't know what the longevity is as it relates to the trend changing. Okay, so keep that in mind. But again, I'm talking about the MACD and its components as a separate unit. But when we use it in conjunction with our triple arrow, is super powerful. Now, what you want to keep in mind, one of the jobs, I should say, that we have as traders are we're likened to a detective. And I want you to look at it like that. What does a detective do? A detective seeks out data, seeks out evidence to support a particular direction that they're wanting to go. So they collect a series of evidence to support that decision, right? Well, that's what we do as traders. We collect data, we collect confirmations, we collect information, evidence that support the position that we're wanting to go in, or the position that the market wants to go in. Because again, we're just responding to what the market is telling us. We're responding to price action, right? We don't control it at all. We don't control it at all. But with enough evidence, we can surmise, right, a decision on the direction that the market wants to go in. We use our triple arrow system in conjunction with our MACD to make that decision. And it's very, very powerful. So I believe that I covered everything as far as the MACD's components are. We have our volume indicator here that is in alignment with the strength of the candles. As the stronger the candle, or the more volume that's in the candle, it will be indicated by the various size of these volume indicators. Okay, and it also identifies just really the trend, and where is it, what direction is strongest that price is actually going in at that particular time. And then, of course, you have your moving averages. Your moving averages, you have your MACD is your blue line. Your red line is your signal line. And when the MACD line crosses above the signal line, it's a buy. When it crosses below, it's a sell. Where that? Below. Below is a sell. Above is a buy. So remember that. That's very important. A lot of traders that trade with the MACD base their entry on the crossover. They base their entry on the crossover. And again, subscribe and get invited to, I'm going to invite you to my Facebook group, because I do training on how you can implement the crossover strategy with your triple arrow. I do that in my one-on-one sessions. I also, by the way, offer one-on-one coaching sessions as it relates to learning the triple arrow system and how to maximize it. I have quite a few different ways that you can learn it, because everybody learns differently, right? They see the market differently. And with this system, there's just endless possibilities that you can actually utilize just by understanding how the system works, right? So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's go ahead on and plug in our super arrow with this. Okay. And by the way, this applies to every time frame, anything that you're trading, whether foreign currency, metals, crypto, it does not matter. It all works the same. Now, the MACD is not, the algorithm is not perfectly aligned with your arrow signals. It's not. It doesn't have to be. So this is what I want you to understand. For instance, let me just break down really, really quick the triple arrow. The triple arrow is comprised of the 3 arrows, okay, along with the other things I mentioned and some more. But the 3 arrows, we have a big arrow and 2 small arrows going in the same direction. When we have that, when it populates, we now have our triple arrows. And at that time, most individuals who use this system, they get in. I don't recommend you doing that, because remember what you are. You are a detective. Now, that's a strong indication. That's like one of the key evidence, if you will, when you have the triple arrow system. That's a key evidence that price is going in that direction. However, as a really good detective, you want some more confirmations, right? You want to just add a little more influence to the decision that or the position that the market is telling you to go in. So with that being said, you want to incorporate your MACD. I know a lot of traders who utilize this system that really don't use the MACD. They don't consider the MACD. And that is, you're doing yourself a disservice, frankly. Now, are there other indicators? Absolutely. Absolutely, there are. But when I say that this is an all-inclusive indicator suite, it is. Use it for what it is, because it's very, very effective. So what you can do with the triple arrow, once you get your big arrow, okay, all of this is customizable, by the way, so your colors may be different than mine, and no problem. Once you get your big arrow, that indicates to you that price wants to change directions. That's all it means. That's all it means. That's all it means, right? So you're not getting in at that point. You're just being aware, being made aware that price is wanting to change direction. Now, do we know when it's going to happen? No, we don't. Nobody does, right? Nobody does. That's why we have other things in place that helps us to be notified while we're living our life, doing what we do. There are other things that you can do to get notification. There's other time frames you can trade as well, so that you don't have to be stuck to the computer. We want you to live your life without being, stuck to the computer. Okay. So again, private one-on-one sessions, Facebook trading group, and previous videos, I talk about these different things. All right. So we're just watching at this point. We're just watching. But this is what I want you to see. When you get your big arrow, okay? When you get your big arrow, go ahead on and look at your MACD to see if the MACD position aligns with that big arrow. Okay? Okay. So we have a bearish big arrow right here. What that tells us is that price wants to change directions. It wants to now go into a bearish trend, a downtrend. That's what that big arrow, bearish big arrow, tells us. Not ready yet. It's not ready yet, but that's what it's telling us. So what you want to do is you want to align down with your MACD to see if the MACD supports that. Now, looking at the MACD, it absolutely supports that, because the blue line crossed below the red line, which signifies what? A sale. It signifies selling volume, selling strength. Another key that you want to, and this is through back testing, multiple pairs, multiple things, back testing. And what I found that was very consistent is that when you have the big arrow, it does not always coincide with the crossover, meaning it's not in alignment with the actual crossover when it happened. But it does happen previous to the big arrow. I've noticed that. It happens previous to the big arrow. And so that's an indication. Once you get the crossover on the MACD, that's a very strong indication of a change in direction. Powerful stuff, guys. Powerful stuff. And so you have the MACD lining up with what the big arrow said it wants to do. Great. So now we have two confirmations, right? Then what you want to do, because we're not executing on the big arrow, we execute on the triple arrow. Once the triple arrow comes, meaning the two small arrows going in the same direction, once it populates, then you want to take what? Another assessment. You want to look again, right? You want to look again. Now let's move over. Where did the two arrows come in together going in the same direction? Right here, right here, right here. Now, I also want to point out, it does not have to be on top of each other. It does not have to even be very close to each other. You can have the first small arrow going in the bearish direction, say like right here, and then you can have your second small arrow somewhere in here. That's fine. Whenever you have that second small arrow, your triple arrow has been populated. And then at that time, so it came right here. So let's look down to our MACD. Voila. This is powerful, guys. Powerful. What's happening with the MACD? The MACD is going through what? My 0, 0 line. It's crossing over from bullish territory to bearish territory. That's very, very strong. And at that point, me personally, I would get in. I would get in because I have enough strong evidence to support the direction that the market wants to go in. It gets no easier, and I know I'm getting excited because it's powerful. This is the reason why I said it is the #1 trading system in the industry. And I just believe everybody should have it. I just really, really do. If you're serious about trading and you're serious about making money, you should have it. You should have it. Okay, anyway, back to the tutorial. Okay, so that's what's happening. Look at your MACD right here. Look at your MACD. Look at your MACD. I'm going to keep it lined up. Look at your MACD. Where's your MACD? It's right there. It's going down into what? Into seller's territory. It's crossing over. It's crossing over. Another thing that you want to, here's another confirmation that you can check off as well. Look at the volume. Look at the volume. You have more selling volume here than you have buying volume here. Now, the buying volume here also tells a story. It's smaller. It's smaller, and it's getting smaller and smaller. What does that mean? That means that the buying power or the buying pressure is diminishing. Diminishing. Why? Why? Always ask yourself why. Why is because the sellers are stronger in the market. The more sellers are coming into the market, and they are dominating the buyers because they have more selling strength. Okay? And that's represented here. So you have less buying strength and more sellers. Look at the little sellers coming in. Look at them as people if you want. I don't care. But this is what's happening. Look at the little sellers coming in. You see those little spikes? I need my glasses. You see those little spikes right there? Okay? You see those little spikes? Sellers coming in. Sellers coming in. More power. More power. More power. More power. And it coincides with what the MACD is doing. It's traveling through and is gaining strength as it makes its descent into a downward momentum. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. And here's the thing. As long as you may be saying, You may be saying, well, okay, I'm in a sale. How do I know when to get out? There's several ways to determine that. I'll just speak of the one as it relates to the MACD. Okay. Again, I'm keep referring you to those options that I'm gonna put in my description so that you can get more fluent with this. But as long as you stay in the sale, as long as your red line is above your blue. Now we've gone into seller's territory right here. Now, once we crossed over, we are in seller's territory. We got a little consolidation here. Okay, that happens. But we're in seller's territory because why? One, because we're below the 0-0 line. We're in seller's territory now. And two, because what? Your red line is on top of the blue line. Simple as that. And you can actually stay in the trade as long as the red is on top of the blue. Now, when would you get out? Well, you can get out of the trade when the crossover happens, but the power of the triple arrow system, which gives you far more pip opportunity, and I'll go over that in another video. I really wanted to kind of stay with the MACD and not get into different strategies that you can use. But the triple arrow system is designed for you to capitalize on a considerable amount of pips, to be quite frankly. Right? A considerable amount of pips. And I'll show you how to do that as well. So that's it. That's it. I went over. I'm 31 minutes. I wanted to just do 30 minutes, but hopefully this has helped you. Hopefully this has brought you value. If so, give me a thumbs up, comments, questions you may have. I will respond to those. And as I mentioned, I will have the appropriate links inside of the description so that you can stay in connection with me, and we can just really capitalize with the system. Why not? It's giving you everything. It's giving you everything. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day. It is Friday, so enjoy your weekend and stay tuned for future videos. Have a great one. Bye-bye.